And action. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I think we're afternoon everywhere, except for if you're in Hawaii. I know we have some agents in Hawaii. Today, my goal is to help you learn how to attract agents better, at least better than you have been, or and just to do it in the correct way. All right. So one of the things I always want to talk to people about is why are you going to attract agents? And I'm going to tell you just from a personal perspective. I started 4.5 years ago. As a lot of you know, I moved over my brokerage with 40 agents back in June of 2017. And I've really put in about an hour a week, maybe, and now have 49 directs and 1,630-ish agents in my group. Not the fastest grower in the group, not the slowest grower in the group, but I spend most of my time these days helping our agents. So a lot of you guys on this call know that I've done three-way calls for you guys, and I do them whenever you want. I think I did 6 or 7 today, averaging about 5 a day right now. So why do you want to attract agents? Well, the number one reason is it can change your life. That's the biggest reason. For my family, obviously with 1,640 agents. By the way, I'm nothing special. It's not like I'm, out there doing this all day long. I've met people in our company that are killing it with this who didn't even sell homes. So, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to do this. It just takes someone that actually puts the effort in and does it in the proper manner. Personally, I like to grow locally. I think it's easier for most people. It gives you the ability to create extra income. And I don't care if your goal is $1,000 a month extra or, $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 a month extra. Well, I guess when you're making $100,000 a month, it's not really extra, right? It's pretty good. But, if you read anything about success in life, in business, financial success we're talking about, it's about residual income. And the nice thing about residual income is it gives you the ability to not stress about paying your bills, right? So, for instance, if you're making an extra $3,000 a month, for most people in our organization, that's going to cover their mortgage and their car payment, or their mortgage and food. What a great stress reliever is to know those things are paid for every month. Or people like myself, we create complete freedom. And again, anybody can do this. 3 or 4 months ago, I stopped selling houses. I've retired from selling houses. I don't think I'll ever sell a house the rest of my life. If I do, I might ask you to shoot me. But the beauty is I could never have done that with EXP. So why attract agents? It gives you freedom. It takes the stress away. It helps pay your bills. And honestly, from my standpoint at this point in my life, it's about helping people change their life. So sometimes it's not even about me doing it. You kind of owe it to the people that your friends. You should be talking to them about EXP and helping them join, because look what it's done for us. I mean, I don't know everybody on the call here, but I know a lot of you. And we joined this company because we thought it was good. We heard it was good. And for those who have actually implemented, it has become very, very good. So it also gives you the opportunity to get out of the business. So that's what it's done for myself and my partner, Pat. We again, a few months ago, have stopped selling houses because of this. We've always had to sell houses to supplement our income while we're growing our business, but now we don't have to sell houses anymore. We just live on our rev share and literally could retire today if we want to. But I love this. I'll never retire. Well, I'm 60 years old. I might retire someday, but not for a while. So that's why you should be doing this. Okay. But really, the way I look at it, and I'm going to go back to it again because I really think it's true, is think of what it's like when you introduce somebody to the company and all of a sudden their lives change. And I'll give you an example of that. One of my agents was an Icon agent 3 years ago now. Their $16,000 they got, I believe, is worth $340,000 now. Think of that. That's life-changing, right? He makes about $100,000 a year. There's no way he would have saved in 3 years $340,000. Changing lives. That's what we do. So here's the numbers, and I'm not going to go through these in detail, but if you bring 2 agents over, in 5 years, it's up to $28,000 a year in revenue. It's 2 agents per year over 5 years, right? $28,000 an extra a year. 2 agents over 5 years who all bring on 1 agent over those 5 years is $44,000. Huge, right? 4 agents in a year. Think about it, 4 agents is one person per quarter. If you're doing deals out there, we're going to talk about this, you should be able to bring over one person per quarter. Do that over 5 years, that's $56,000 a year. I know most realtors don't make $56,000 a year, never mind in commissions. And then if you bring on 4 agents that those people brought on one, that's $92,000. And again, you can see what 6 agents does. So the key is it duplicates and becomes exponential pretty quickly. And that's what it did for me. I mean, I went the first 18 months not doing it correctly and was growing, but not like I wanted to. And then once I learned how to do this correctly, I just skyrocketed. And again, life-changing. So these are the numbers, though. These are real numbers, right? They're not make-up numbers. Those of you who have been with us for a long time, you know these are real numbers. You've seen some of the numbers that other people are doing. I mean, I'm pretty happy with what I'm doing, but we have people making 2, 3, 4, 500,000 a month in this because they put it as part of their business. They've implemented the systems. So I always like to. I'm a what-if guy. Like, what if I actually did this? Would this happen? And the reality is, if you put in an hour a week of tracking agents, it's going to change your life. If you put in 3 hours a week, it's going to dramatically change your life. And one of the things you need to think about is it's not just your life. It's your family's life. It's your wife's life. It's your children's life. If you guys haven't seen it yet, my wife did an interview. If you go to my YouTube channel, which is my name, Mitch Riback, and then type in Jeanette, Mitch Riback, Jeanette. My wife did a interview with Renee Funk, I don't know, a year ago maybe. And it was really cool because when she did that, I mean, everybody who was watching it, something they cried after they watched it because of how much it's changed her life. And we can do that for you. EXP allows that to happen for your life. So it's not just about you as a realtor. It's about your spouse. It's about your children. We have set up now the ability for us to keep this revenue going forever. My wife's licensed now. My daughter's getting licensed, I believe, next week. We're going to get the grandkids license. We're going to get the other 3 boys license. It's wealth forever. So what if you actually did that? What if you could completely change your life? And what if you didn't have to sell homes? I mean, I know we all love selling homes, right? I like selling homes. No, not really. I like listing homes right now in this market. But what if you actually put this into action? And I'm not talking about full time. I'm talking 1, 2, 3 hours a week. If you actually did that and put that into action, you would not have to sell as many homes. And if you didn't sell any homes, you wouldn't worry that much about it because you have revenue still coming in. So is now a good time to change your life? I think so. I think it's a good time to change your life every day. So this is kind of another breakdown of the passive income. This is called 10-10, 10 agents who sponsor 10 agents. And these are, again, real numbers. If you introduce 10 people to the company and they introduce 10 people, all those 10 people introduce 10 people to the company, that's up to $348,000 a year if everybody caps. Now, we know they're not all going to cap, but what if they all half cap on an average? Even a quarter cap on an average is worth $75,000 there. And this is one of my favorite slides because what this shows you is it shows you how much money you would have to have in the bank to make whatever you make in residual income. So, for instance, if you have if you had making $2,000 a month, you'd have to have $480,000 in the bank. How many of you have $480,000 in the bank? At 5%, by the way. For me right now, where I'm at, I would have to have $14 million in the bank to make what I'm making a month right now. Think about that. Would I have ever saved $14 million after taxes? Not a chance. Not a chance. Have you seen my wife's shoe collection? Definitely not a chance. So residual income is what it's all about. That's what every investment person tells you is the more residual income you can create for your life and your family, the freer your life becomes. All right, so one of the things, and we're going to get to some of the objections. One of the things that I hear all the time, well, you're just a pyramid scheme, blah, 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 right? And I'm tired of hearing that. So we'll use Coldwell Banker. This is a good company to use. So Coldwell Banker is an international company, right? And they sell regions. And then the regions sell franchises. The franchisees own the company, right? And then they hire team leaders, managers, and recruiters to hire us, agents, right? It's the same model. What happens when the agent gets paid? everybody above them gets paid. So it's no different in model. So when someone says to me it's just like a pyramid scheme, first I'll say, oh, sort of like KW, right? Until we reach them, they're the biggest company in the world right now. We will surpass them over the next couple of years. But every company is set up the exact same way, right? And Glenn's concept was like, let's just give that money to the agents. So 50% of all EXP revenue goes back to the agents in the form of revenue share. All right, attitude. This is so important. If you're one of those Debbie Downer people, this is going to be really difficult for you. You have to be positive. If you guys know me, and I know a lot of you do, it's all smiles and jokes. My entire life is smiles and jokes. In fact, I've learned that women fall in love with you for the same reason they hate you later on. My wife fell in love with me because I was funny and because I was very devoted to my work and success. And now she hates that I work so much and everything's a joke. You got to be positive. You got to be patient. I've had several agents that didn't join for 2 to 3 years, but I stayed in touch with them. Don't be obnoxious. Don't be one of those people that throws up EXP all over people. Oh, you got to join EXP because you're going to make $1 million in rev share. That's an immediate turnoff. I've talked to so many agents over the past couple of years that didn't join EXP because that's how they were introduced to EXP. Be an awesome realtor. What happens when you're really, really good at what you do? People want to be part of what you do. Don't talk about yourself. Listen to people. Right? What are their needs and goals? If you talk about yourself, they're not going to do it. What about revenue share and recruiting? I don't use the words revenue share, and I don't use word recruiting. I use introducing and referral fees. So again, if you introduce 2 people to the company over the next 3 years, and they all introduce just one, that's up to $36,000 a year in referral fees. Agents understand the word introduce. They understand the word referral. Once you start throwing recruiting in there or rev share in there, they're done. They walk away. Now, where is that different? That's different when I'm talking to a broker or a team leader that's a business-oriented team leader. You want to be, I'll talk about rev share recruiting at that point, but when I'm talking to a typical agent, it's about introducing people and referral fees. And then finally, I don't list houses anymore. I list people. Every agent that I introduce to the company is up to $2,800 a year. I don't know. It's a gift that keeps on giving, right? Good stuff. So where do you meet agents? Social media. Don't be a secret agent. Be out there. Social media, LinkedIn, real estate vendors. I asked one of my inspection guys last year, I said, who do you think's the best up-and-coming realtor? He told me. I called him, and he joined. Didn't join that day. He joined a couple months later. Teach classes, help other agents how to be successful. Pat and I are in the process of doing a third, we call the Rockstar Real Estate Series, where we do classes for agents. The last one we did, we had Brian Moses come in, and we had about 100 agents there. This one we have 88 signed up, I believe, right now so far. It's on next Tuesday. And these are non-branded classes. I don't push EXP down people's throats. I build relationships. And by the way, that's kind of this whole thing. The better the relationship, the easier this is. 10 realtor events. I went to an event for a title company last week, and they were at, everybody. So Mitch, you're killing it with EXP. Someday we need to sit down and talk. I got one guy I'm meeting with next week from that event. So 10 events, people will ask you questions. When you're in the middle of transactions, how come you haven't joined EXP yet? I love that line, by the way. It's an easy one. Stop by agents' houses, agents' open houses. What are people doing when they're sitting there at open houses? Because they generally don't do them correctly, right? And therefore, they're there by themselves. Go in and say hi. Talk to them for a little bit. Start your relationships. Broker open house, same things. And also, anybody that's left EXP. I mean, there's plenty of people who have left EXP over the years, especially at the beginning, and they've been gone for 6 months. Then they can join under you. Right? So those are just some of the places you can meet agents. Ultimately, it comes down to your relationships with agents. I'm sure I talk about it in here somewhere, but the most important thing you do is make a list of agents that you know. And everybody knows 100 agents, if not more. And then you rank those agents based on relationship. Now, I did that without knowing to do that. I reached out to my friends, Jeff and Renee Funk. Didn't have any videos back then, didn't even know how to present it. But they liked it. A lot of you guys know Jeff and Renee. They're phenomenal people. Great EXP agents. And in fact, Renee's been speaking at Inman now, and she's just totally cranked it up another notch. Conversation starters, how's your business? How's your market? Depends where they're local, right? How do you see the industry changing? What do you think of Zillow is always a good one that always thinks things. But my favorite is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see the industry in 5 years? What is your exit strategy? And what does your retirement look like? Those are why I joined. I saw myself 5 years being the exact same place that I was. Having a brokerage with 100 plus agents, with a lot of overhead, and not really enjoying my life. So where do they see themselves in 5 years? Most realtors, what I've learned about real estate over the past 20 years, is most realtors are the same as they were. Meaning, if they do $2 million a year, they're going to do $2 million every year. If they do $4 million, they'll do $4 million. If they do 10, they'll do 10. If they do 20, they'll do 20. Very people level up. I'm making hand motions like you can actually see me. I level up on this stuff. So you need to level up. And what's their exit strategy? How do you get out of the business? Someone told me recently, I loved it. It was, he said, have you been to any realtor retirement parties? And I haven't. He goes, I've been to two. They're both called funerals. So the reality is people work until they drop in this business, mostly because they have to. Some do it because they love it, but mostly because they have to. EXP gives them that way out. We give them an exit strategy. We give them a way to increase their business and level up. So these are the things I like to talk about. And some of it's about really just helping people. I'm helping people right now, and whether she joins or not, it's not really, I love her to join me. I told her that, but I'm not pushing EXP on her, helping her build a team. I'm building a great relationship. We just met a couple weeks ago. So when we're talking to people, my goal and my vision when I'm talking to people is to find out the 5 pillars of EXP, which fits their life. So, for instance, if you talk to me about technology and education, when Howard brought me in, Howard Fritz, if you don't know Howard brought me in 4.5 years ago. He's my sponsor, and he's had a pretty good life since he brought me in. Not mainly because of me, because of my entire organization, which is not about me, it's about all of us. But if you talk to me about technology and education, I probably would not have joined. But being a business guy, he was smart enough to talk to me about rev share and stock. So you have to know who you're talking to. And we're going to get into that in a little bit. But this is the process. And this is the process. So if you learn nothing from this conversation of this hour, however long we're going to be on the phone, on the call, firstly, you got to make a list of agents. Number one, make a list of agents. We just talked about it. Order them by relationship. Now, I don't think I would be calling, have you heard about EXP Realty? Because if they haven't heard about EXP Realty, they don't know it. I would be starting with people that I know, like I said, and I would say to them, I'll say, we'll just use Brent because he's on here, one of my friends. And so, Brent, I know this might not be for you, but I really respect you as a realtor, and I would love your opinion. I'm going to talk to some realtors about EXP and joining, and okay, if you like it, great. If you don't like it, that's okay. However, I'd love your opinion. I'd love your objections. So if you do me a favor, could you watch this for me? Generally speaking, if they've got a business mind, they are going to be intrigued. And then at that point, your job is to get them on the phone with me on a 3-way call, with me or whoever you want to bring. I'm here to help all you guys. So you get on my calendar, you're there. But the key is then let people like myself who do calls every day do the call. They're never the same. They're always different because I'm always trying to find out what's the most important thing. There's a couple of websites you can use. I just filmed a new one, which I'll give you also. So Brent Groves is themodelexplained.com. I love Brent. He does a great job. We have different styles. Mine's getting pretty good reviews, and mine is called checkoutthemodel.com, which I forgot to put on here. So checkoutthemodel.com is mine. Themodelexplained.com is Brent. Use with Brent Gove, whichever one you work at. We have different styles, have different messaging inside them. But the key is always have them watch the video. I mean, it's always better if you watch the video with them. If you can do that, it's difficult a lot of times, but always have them watch a video before you get on the call with myself or anybody else. The reason being, if I have to sit there and spend an hour trying to talk about EXP and we got an $85 a month fee and a 80-20 split, blah, 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 blah. I'm not getting into the stuff that I need to know to see if EXP is a good fit with them. Okay? So it's very important that you do this correctly. So make your list, reach out to your friends. Don't try to explain it over the phone. If they say, can you tell me about it, say I actually can't, it's a visual thing. Use either the model explained or check out themodel.com. When you call them back to follow up, don't answer their questions or don't answer much. And say, hey, do you mind if I get one of the big, one of the top guys in the company on the phone with you or on Zoom with you? I always prefer Zoom versus a phone call because it's a lot more effective. I get to read body language, and that helps me too. The key is, I guess, don't be a lone wolf. You don't need to be doing this by yourself. So this is kind of what I said a little bit ago. It's the needs analysis is what I do. I find out about them. What do they like about their current situation? Would they change if they could? Who else is involved in the decision-making process? A lot of times, like for myself, my wife was involved, but she was not in any of my meetings, right? And then you set up the next expectation, which is generally you calling them back and say, hey, I'll follow up, today or tomorrow with the agent. I don't follow up for you guys. But that's what I do. And this is a process. It's most of the time it's fairly easy. I get a lot of feedback and a lot of conversation going. Sometimes you get someone that's really difficult who just doesn't talk. Generally, when they've watched one of the videos, honestly, probably 1% who watch the video are an issue. People that are an issue, they'll get on the phone right away and they'll go like, well, just so you know, I'm not joining. I'm like, okay, I don't care if you join. Because I don't care. If they join, great. If they don't join, I don't care. It's just like if I'm making money and I go to a listing appointment, I always get the listing. I don't care. It's not that I don't care that they join. I want them to join, of course. But I can't. You have to feedback on the stuff you're getting from the agent you're talking to. These are objections we get regularly. Number one, I'm happy where I'm at. Great. I was happy where I was at too. We're looking for happy people. But what about the brand? So most consumers have never heard of EXP. I'm dealing with that right now with a Remax agent that thinks that Remax is the best thing since sliced bread. And I always ask, are you successful because of your brand, or are you successful because of your work ethic and your service? I call it brand prism. Most companies, Remax, whatever, is there to convince you that you're successful because you're with Remax, call a banker, KW, whatever it may be. Next one is my company gives me leads. I call that lead prism. Why do you want to build their brand, not your brand? Why do you want to be relying on their leads for you to be successful? Right? The more you rely on them to be successful, the less successful you're going to be. This one I get a lot, which cracks me up now. I got it a lot when it was $6 and $7 and $8 a share. I'm still getting that when it's in the $35, $40 a share. I know your stock is all over the place. I said, well, we're a small cap stock, so it does fluctuate a lot. And how much stock does Coldwell Banker give you now? So I always try to take them right back. I've already heard about EXP from Billy Bob. What have you heard? Have you watched any of the videos? Almost always they don't know anything about EXP and they've not watched any of the videos. Next one I get a lot is I'm at 100% shop, and these are popping up all over the place, right? And if I could show you how to make more than 100%, would that be interesting? Some will say yes, some won't pay. So one of the things in here, I'm sure I wrote it down here, is you can't be attached to the outcome. People are going to say no, right? Almost all of you said no at first, right? I did. So people are going to say no. It doesn't mean definitely no. It just means no, not now. Right? This is my favorite objection. I get this mainly from Compass agents. By the Compass agents are, generally doing their 3 years and then moving over to EXP. It's really interesting to watch now. I get $25,000 a year in marketing expense. What's your split? That's all I'll ask them. So I'll tell you the quick story on this. I was in New York City. I was meeting an agent, and she was great, and young, late 20s maybe, did $18 million a year in sales, just joined Compass, and got paid $7,500 to join. I think that's what it was. And we were talking about, she goes, well, I could never leave them because they give me $25,000 a year in marketing expense. Oh, that's awesome. I go, well, what's your split? So her split was 60-40. So I took out my little handy calculator, started calculating her money, and then I pulled out my checkbook. She's just looking at me. She's not understanding what I'm doing. And I go, I'm going to write you a check right now for $25,000. And she's like, wow, for what? I go, well, because I want to pay you what you would make in your marketing expense, but here's the deal. I want you to write me another check for $130,000. Like, what are you talking about? I could, because that's what you paid Compass to make $25,000. So the numbers always make sense with our company, almost always. So she's actually joining. I just talked to her recently, and she said she's joining in January or February. I think her contract's up in January. Again, find out what pillars fit into the need of the agent. When talking numbers, compare the difference. Even straight up with most companies, they're going to make more money with EXP. Three-way calls. First, you got to edify people. You got to say, so Mitch Alvaro's broker, and he's a really good guy. He helps a lot of people. He's one of the top agents, blah, blah, blah. And then you edify the agent you're bringing in, and that's it. When you're talking to them, say, look, I'd love to give you more insights about EXP, but I sell homes. I don't know how to do all that. So let's get Mitch on the call. Right? Very simple. Don't attach yourself to the outcome. I told you that. Don't sell EXP. Like I said, once you start throwing up EXP on people, you're done. Just share with people. Share your stories. Welcome new agents. Every month I put out, I'm averaging about, this month's a little low. We only added 60 agents, but last month we added 93. So I put those out on social media. Welcome to our new agents that came to the company. When we have a new agent join, we do a post on them. Make sure you show that you care about them and their family. Right? One of my favorite lines in the world is be uncomfortable with comfortable. If you are not uncomfortable with, if you're comfortable, you are not growing. If you're not growing, you're stuck. Right? That's really what it comes down to, right? You're stuck. All right. More tips. I have more tips. Look at that. So I look at this is kind of like internet leads. I get someone interested in, and then I have to stay in touch with them. With the internet leads, the same thing: capture lead, nurture lead, close lead, create a customer for life. It's no different with EXP. And you'll find someone interested, then you nurture them. Most people do not join the day you talk to them. Most. So you nurture them, and at some point they join, right? And once they join, now it's really up to you as a sponsor to make sure they stay. So you got to check on them. I mean, we check on our people all the time to make sure they're okay and see if they need anything. It's very important to do that. I'm going to hold questions until we get to the end, okay? And then I'll answer the questions. I want to get through this first. And then next, pick the right agents. I made the mistake at the beginning. I picked anybody because I needed to get bodies and get wide and all that stuff. Big mistake. Almost all of them left. Most of them were new agents, and I didn't have the capacity at the time I do now to handle new agents coming on board. So I lost, probably, let's see, I brought on 84 agents total, and I have 49. So 25 I've lost, right? 35. Time block. I don't care what you're doing, by the way. If you time block, you're going to kill it, right? I don't care if it's an hour a day. I don't care if it's 30 minutes a day. I don't care if it's an hour a week. If you talk to two realtors a day, 5 days a week, your life will change dramatically. And I'm going to give you a quick story on this. I was with Gene Frederick in New Orleans a couple of years ago. He's like, Mitch, you got to meet this guy. I'm like, okay, so this guy comes walking over. Nice guy. I think he was from Texas somewhere. I don't remember his name or anything. And Gene goes to me, so how long have you been in the business? He goes, a year. And he goes, and how many homes did you sell this year? He goes, I haven't sold any homes this year. And he goes, and what did I tell you to do? He goes, you told me to talk to 2 realtors a day for 5 days a week, and that'll change my life. He goes, did you do that? He goes, yeah. He goes, what's the story? He goes, well, I got 257 agents. And he goes, how much did you make last month? He goes, I'm making between $10,000 and $15,000 a month. Think about that. A brand new agent, knew nobody in the industry, and at the end of his first year, he had 257 people in his organization because he actually did the work. But he time blocks. Everybody who's successful in life time blocks. And then you need to check everything. Some people are using CRM Grow, which you can go to crmgrow.com. It's a great program to help with the organization of this. I'm a spreadsheet guy. I have CRM Grow, but I have spreadsheets. I'm old school. I just like it on a spreadsheet in front of me. But you have to track everything you do. You have to check everybody you're talking to and when you talked to them last and what was the conversation about. But most importantly, you just got to do it, right? It's just not that hard. A couple more things. Limiting beliefs, right? It's the downfall of everybody. Right? And we all have them. I have them, you have them, we all have them. Don't let them beat you, right? Remember I said earlier, be uncomfortable with comfortable. It says get out of your comfort zone, get out of your limitations. You don't have limitations, right? Can everybody be Brent Gove? Probably. Is it going to happen in 6 years like it did for him? Probably not. But, can you get to 16,000 agents? Probably. I think we have so much room to grow in this company. But don't let your limitations beat you. Don't be afraid. And I've had that conversation. Well, I'm just afraid to call people. What does it matter? Like if you call people and they say no, what does it matter? Let me give you an exercise on that. I've been teaching this for quite a while now. So in your life, you've experienced pain, right? I've had three major pain, kind of four, but three major pain things in my life. One, losing everything financially in 1990, my dad dying in 1990, and my mother dying in 1993. Those are the most painful things. Losing $80 million in 2000 was tough, but it wasn't as hard as losing my parents and getting burned. And I got burned in 2017, when I was 17 and almost died. Very painful, tough experience. Um, when I have something I have to do, let me take a sip of water here. Hold on a second. When I have something I have to do I don't want to do, I think back to those moments that were really, really hard in my life. And I say, what's the worst case scenario? I'm not going to get burned. No one's going to die. At least my mother and father aren't going to die. My wife's not going to die. So all that's going to happen is the worst case scenario is they say no. Nobody yells at you, by the way. And somebody might get mad and hang up on you. Big deal, right? What does that affect your life? Is that worse than losing one of your parents or having something catastrophic happening in your family or to yourself? No. If you don't design your life, someone else is going to. And what I find with most realtors is they let somebody else do that, meaning they let buyers and sellers define the life that they have. I'm here to tell you, you can do this. This is not difficult. You're going to help people change their lives. How is that bad? Elena Cardone said a great line when her and Grant were struggling. She said, I talked to my husband, who was struggling, getting started after losing things. And I said, if you were a billionaire, would you be afraid to call so-and-so? Would you be afraid to call anybody? He's like, no. He said, well, think like you're a billionaire. So think about that. If you're like really, really good at what you do, or even if you're not, if you have the confidence that you are, you'll be successful. And hunger is great, right? Put pressure on yourself, right? Be hungry, be desperate but not desperate. Like desperate in motivation but not desperate in life. Because if you sound desperate, it doesn't work. But if you're desperate in motivation, that's going to help you grow quicker and quicker. Sponsor responsibility. So I do want to talk about this a little bit. According to EXP, you don't have any responsibility for sponsors. Right? That's just EXP's rules. But I'm going to tell you, if you don't do anything with your sponsors, they leave. With your agency sponsors, they leave. Call them. We're in touch with our new agents on a regular basis. At least for the first month, maybe two. Teach them how to plug into. Well, we have Monday morning masterminds. Teach them how to plug into Workplace. Teach them how to use our tools. We sit down with all of our directs and we have a training session on how to use everything in our company. Call a couple weeks after they've onboarded, make sure they're doing okay. Call a month later, make sure they're doing okay. It's always about guiding them to achieve their goals. The number one complaint I've heard about people who've left is, well, my sponsor promised me this and they didn't do anything. Don't be one of those people. Right? Be successful. Be good. These are a couple of books to read. Building an Empire by Brian Carruthers. It's a great book. It's the system that we follow with the three-way calls, so important. 10X by Grant Cardone is amazing about taking massive action. And Brent Gove Resources has scripts and everything you need for agent attraction too. Those are all great things to read. And there's my contact info. I'm here to help you no matter what you need. Let me see what I got for questions here. Give me 1 second. Questions. So if you have any questions, put them in the box there. What is the Compass split? I've never heard a clear answer on that. Whatever tech Compass has is supposed to be great. They don't really have any tech. They're just a regular brokerage. They just got a great marketing plan, right? The splits are all over the place. I know people are getting 80-20. I know people are getting 60-40. So I think it just depends on who you are and what you're doing. Um, but so I think it's all over the place depending on who you are and what they're paying you. Next question: what do you found to be the demographic of agent that is going to get the most benefit from joining EXP? It's all over the board there, right? It's all over the board. I have agents that are there were new agents that joined and have killed it, just killed it. I have agents that have come on that are successful. So I always look for personally people that are going to cap or come close to capping because they generally don't leave. I shy personally away from a lot of people. Um, the I shy away from newer agents, not newer but new agent, brand new because I don't want to deal with it. Now I do have a mentor that I work with that I give her my new agents to mentor when they do come on, but it's a very sore subject for me, new agents, because as much as I love them, a lot of them just don't want to work. And I've got a couple right now that awesome people, but they're not working. And that was my experience. Just I had Tropical Realty when I had my brokerage. We went through about 500 agents to find 50 good ones. Almost all the agents in my first line that have left, I think, with the exception of one, were brand new agents. So, um, so let's see. Thanks, Marianne. I appreciate that. What were some of the classes you taught that brought in a lot of agents? So we are doing classes. We did one I did a couple weeks ago, which is called Kick It Up a Notch. All these are on my YouTube channel, the ones that I teach personally. That's a great class. I do another class called How to Make $100,000 a Year Working 4 Hours a Day. I love that class. It's fun. I bring in other speakers. Next week we have six panelists coming in. They're all 20 million plus producers. So we're bringing them in. And I brought in Brian Moses, like I think I said earlier, last month or 2 months ago. We had 2 or 3 people join from that one. Again, unbranded. I don't mention EXP at all when I'm doing those classes. It's all about contribution. So the thing is, people appreciate contribution, right? People appreciate you being helpful and trying to help them. So that's all I try to do. I just try to help as many people as I can. And some are going to join and some will never join. And I'm okay with that. It was, yes, Serge, it was Building an Empire by Brian Carruthers, yes. All right, any other questions? Get me why you got me here. I'm going to be doing a follow-up to this probably in the next week or so on a Zoom call. And, I like Zoom calls better than this. I didn't realize, I forgot that, I didn't realize I could do as many people on Zoom as I could. I thought I could only do 100. We had more than that signed up. Anyways, if I get no other questions, I think we're good. December 3rd is invite realtors, correct, Rich? I'm not sure what December 3rd is. I'm not sure what that is. Another question. How do you approach a broker you kind of know who is huge, 600 agents? Okay, so the size of the brokerage doesn't matter. What matters is the amount of overhead they have. But I would talk to them. I'd say, look, I know you have a great brokerage, and so tell me, I'm curious, what's your exit strategy? Right? And that's it. I really want to find out what's their exit strategy because most brokers don't have an exit strategy. Most don't have anything. Right? They don't have money. They don't make any money. My best year at Tropical Realty with 120 agents, I made 200 grand. My typical year, I made less than 100 grand. So it's no different than an agent. If you're friends with the person, just say, what's your exit strategy? Have you looked at EXP and building a brokerage within a brokerage? So when I'm talking to a broker, I'm talking about a brokerage within a brokerage. There will be a replay of this. Yep. With which resources from Brent Grove? There was a script for initial reach out. Yes, there is. He's got all sorts of stuff. He's got a bunch of stuff there from Jay Kinder also. Jay's phenomenal at that. Let's see. I don't have anything on December 3rd on my schedule to send out for a Zoom, but It might be something else that's not from me. I'm not sure, Marianne. You said something about agents that are captains do or don't generally leave. Agents that are captains generally never leave the company. I did an assessment of my last 75 people that left the company. Of the last 75 people that left the company in my organization, I checked them. And let's see, of the 75, it was 64 had not had a sale, right? And there were only one that was a capper, and the other ones had one or two sales. So the majority of agents leave agents that don't have sales. Will this be recorded? This is recorded, and I will send it out to everybody who registered when we're done here. How can we generate leads? Elaborate that, Justin. What type of leads are you talking about? Are we talking about real estate leads, or are we talking about leads for agents? I'm assuming you're talking about leads for agents. I don't do that. I don't go out there and do marketing to generate leads. I meet people and I build relationships. So just get out there and build relationships. I said there earlier, open houses is a great way to build relationships. When you're doing deals, that's a great way to build relationships. That's how I've recruited everybody. Even though I'm new, can you help me craft my story to better talk with more experienced agents? I had 2 sales at my former brokers that I came to EXP in May and capped in October. Set a time. Yes, do me a favor. Send me an email, Melody. Mitch at mitchrealty.com is my email. And I'll send you my calendar link. Next one is, what is your opening question on your initial conversation with a potential recruit? It just depends who they are. I don't call people. So I'm not one to teach you how to do that. I know there's people out there teaching that. I can't because I've never done it. I can only teach you what I've done. If I'm talking to someone I know have you I know you've heard about EXP. Have you thought about switching brokerages, or have you thought about learning more about EXP? Things like that. That's the easy way to do this. Let's see. What is the difference between recruiting an agent and adding someone to your team? Good question. So they're both the same, but they're different. So recruiting an agent doesn't necessarily be on your team. So I'll tell you how we do it here locally. I give agents 3 different options when they join EXP. They can join EXP as a solo agent. They can join as Tropical Realty Beachside, brokered by EXP Realty, my team, or they can have their own team. So it just depends on what they want. It's the same thing though. Bringing an agent on is bringing an agent on. It just depends on what your involvement with that agent is going forward. All right, so here's the deal. I'm going to be doing shortly some sort of contest. I haven't figured it out yet. It'll be a really interesting contest to help you incentivize you guys to bring on people. But I haven't worked it all out yet, so you'll be getting an email from me soon on that. Another question: If you got a good transaction going, how do you initially bring up EXP? I love that question, Spencer. This is my favorite line. So how come you haven't joined EXP yet? That's it. It's my favorite line. I love that. And you say it like you're joking. And well, I've heard a lot about it. The whole goal is to get into the conversation, right? So you can do that with pretty much anybody. But that works really, really well. I have a couple of agents. That's pretty much all they do, and they've done pretty well in the recruiting part of our business. All right. So again, my contact info you see up there. If you want to schedule a time with me, send me an email, and I'll send you back my calendar link. Always glad to help any of you guys. This has been great. I appreciate you coming on board. And we'll talk to everybody soon, right? Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.